Security, get this lying piece of trash out of MY building before I have him arrested. The woman's voice echoed through the marble lobby of Sterling Tower in downtown Miami. Her Louboutins clicked against imported Italian tile as she advanced on the man in the janitor's uniform. Finger pointed like a weapon. Diego Santos stood perfectly still, mop in one hand, bucket in the other, water dripping onto the floor he'd just cleaned. His worn uniform, Martinez Cleaning Services stitched on the chest, was soaked with sweat and soap. "Ma'am, I just need to speak with." "You spoke. 2 years ago, you promised me the world. You said you'd build me an empire. Instead, you stole my investment money and disappeared." Her voice cracked with fury and old pain. Asterisk. "Do you know what happened to me after you vanished? I lost everything. My business, my reputation. My investors pulled out. I had to rebuild from nothing because of you." Before this goes any further, if you've ever believed in taking a chance on someone, in choosing hard over comfort, please stay with us. Subscribing, liking, or sharing this story isn't about supporting a channel. It's about standing behind stories that remind us who we are. If that matters to you, even a little, stay. The crowd gathering in the lobby, executives, tenants, delivery people, stared. Some pulled out phones, already recording. This was going viral by lunchtime. "Victoria, please, if you just let me explain. Don't you dare say my name." Victoria Chun, CEO of Chun Enterprises, one of the most successful commercial real estate firms in Florida, was shaking with rage. "You lost that privilege when you took my $2 million and ran like a coward. Security, I want this fraud arrested for trespassing, harassment, and I'm the new owner." The words were quiet, steady, completely calm. Victoria stopped mid-sentence. "What?" "I bought Sterling Tower last week. The sale closed yesterday. I own this building." Diego set down his mop, pulled out a folded document from his back pocket. "Here's the deed. My name is on it, which means, technically, Victoria, you're standing in MY lobby, threatening MY employee. That's impossible. You're a janitor. You're undercover, researching investments, seeing how buildings really run from the inside." He smiled, small, sad. "You taught me that, remember? You said the best investors understand every level of their properties. So I took your advice. Spent 6 months working as a janitor, learning from the people who actually keep these towers functioning." Victoria's face had gone from red to white. "You're lying. This is some sick con." Diego Santos, CEO of Santos Capital Group, net worth approximately $1.4 billion, according to last month's Forbes estimate, though they're always a bit behind. He looked around at the stunned crowd. "I was a broke entrepreneur when we met, Victoria. You gave me $2 million to launch my first commercial property fund. Then my partner embezzled everything and framed me for it. By the time I proved my innocence, you'd already written me off as a thief. I spent 2 years rebuilding. And now," he gestured to the building around them, this 40-story testament to wealth and power. "Now I own this, and about a dozen other properties in Miami and Austin, including," he paused, let it sink in, "including the building where Chun Enterprises leases their headquarters. Your lease is up for renewal next month, isn't it?" The color drained from Victoria's face completely. "So here's my question, Victoria. Do you want to keep assuming the worst about people? Or do you want to finally hear the truth about what happened 2 years ago?" Behind them, security stood frozen, unsure whose orders to follow. The crowd's phones captured every moment. And in the back of the lobby, unnoticed by everyone, a woman in a business suit smiled slightly, because she knew exactly what Diego Santos was really doing, and it had nothing to do with revenge. Diego Santos had $347 in his bank account when he met Victoria Chun. He was 28, working 3 jobs, Uber driver, bartender at a hotel in South Beach, and weekend gigs doing handyman work. trying to save enough capital to start his real estate investment dream. The dream that kept him going through 18-hour days in a studio apartment in Little Havana that cost too much and smelled like the taco truck downstairs. He met Victoria at the hotel bar where he worked. She came in every Thursday after her real estate development meetings, always ordered Manhattan, perfect, not too sweet, always tipped well, and always looked exhausted in a way Diego recognized. The exhaustion of building something from nothing. "Rough day?" he asked one Thursday, setting down her drink. "Rough year. Rough life." She smiled tiredly. "But I'm close. So close to closing a deal that'll change everything. Just need one more investor to commit." "What's the deal?" She looked at him. Really looked, assessing whether he was actually interested or just making bartender small talk. Mixed-use development in Austin. Residential, commercial, retail. Perfect location. Projected ROI of 40% over 5 years. Every investor I've pitched loves it. But I'm $2 million short of the capital. I need to break ground. Why not get a loan? Banks wanted to put up my current properties as collateral. If this project fails, I lose everything. I need investors who believe in the vision enough to share the risk. Diego poured himself water, leaned against the bar. "Tell me about the vision." She did, for an hour. While he worked around her, Victoria Chun explained her entire business model, the market research, the demographic trends, the partnerships she'd secured with local Austin businesses. She was brilliant. Diego could see it in every detail she'd anticipated, every contingency she planned for. "You should do this," he said when she finished. "This isn't just a good investment. This is transformational. This is how you go from successful to legendary." Victoria smiled, genuinely this time. "Thank you. It's nice to hear someone say that who isn't trying to take my money or sleep with me. I'm too broke to invest and too exhausted to flirt." She laughed. "Then, what's your story? What's a guy this smart doing bartending?" "Saving. For my own real estate venture someday. I've got the knowledge, degree from FIU, been studying markets since I was 16. Just not the capital." "How much do you need?" $50,000 to start. Buy a small property. Fix it up. Flip it. Use the profit to buy another. Build slowly, carefully, sustainably. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. "I'll make you a deal. You invest in my Austin project. Whatever you can afford, even if it's $1,000. And when it pays out, I'll match your return and give you $50,000 to start your venture. Call it mentorship." Diego's heart stopped. "Why would you do that?" "Because I was you 6 years ago, working 3 jobs, desperate for someone to believe in me. Someone finally did. Now I pay it forward." That week, Diego liquidated everything. His savings. His car, bought a cheaper one. Every asset he had. He invested $2 million in Victoria Chen's Austin project. Not $1,000. Not $10,000. $2 million he'd been secretly accumulating through a side business, buying distressed properties at auction and flipping them. Something Victoria didn't know about because he'd never mentioned it, to use the people dismissing him as just a bartender. "Diego, this is insane," Victoria said when she saw the check. "This is your entire net worth. I believe in your vision, and I believe in paying it forward too." She hugged him, tight, grateful. "I won't let you down. I promise." 3 weeks later, Victoria's business partner, a man named Richard Castellano, disappeared with all the investment funds, including Diego's $2 million. The police found evidence linking Diego to the embezzlement, fake emails from his account, bank transfers with his signature, a paper trail that made it look like he and Richard had planned the whole thing together. "Mr. Santos, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy." Diego sat in interrogation for 12 hours, answering the same questions over and over. "I didn't do this. I was robbed. Richard framed me. Please, just look at the timestamps on those emails. I was working my bartender shift when they were sent." but the evidence was damning. And Victoria, devastated, betrayed, furious, wouldn't even take his calls. He made bail using his mother's house as collateral. Spent 6 months fighting the charges while his name got destroyed in the press. Bartender con artist steals millions from real estate CEO. His mother cried every night. His friends stopped calling. Victoria Chin told everyone who'd listened that Diego Santos was a liar and a thief. And Diego worked. Obsessively. Every spare moment between lawyer meetings and court appearances, he dug into Richard's background, found inconsistencies, tracked offshore accounts, built a case. When he finally proved Richard had acted alone, forged Diego's signatures, hacked his email, created the entire conspiracy to frame an innocent partner, the charges were dropped. But the damage was done. Victoria had lost everything rebuilding her reputation. She blamed Diego for trusting Richard, for not seeing the signs, for ruining her life by association. She never apologized, never even acknowledged his innocence, just moved on, rebuilt Chin Enterprises, and pretended Diego Santos didn't exist. So Diego did the same, took what little he had left and started over. This time he didn't bartend. He went back to what he knew, distressed property investments, small buildings, careful renovation, smart flips, building capital slowly, then faster, then exponentially. Within 2 years, Diego Santos had turned $50,000 in savings, money his mother insisted he take from her retirement, which he'd paid back triple, into a $1.4 billion real estate empire. And now he was back in Miami, standing in Victoria Chen's world, holding all the cards. Sometimes the people we trust most are the ones who hurt us deepest. Sometimes being innocent isn't enough. You still carry the stain of accusation, the weight of broken trust, the loneliness of fighting battles no one believes you're fighting. If you've ever been blamed for something you didn't do, if you've ever watched someone you care about turn their back because a lie was easier to believe than your truth, then maybe you understand why Diego spent 2 years building an empire instead of just rebuilding his bank account. Why some victories aren't about money. They're about finally being seen as you really are. Victoria Chin sat in the empty lobby of Sterling Tower at 9 p.m., after everyone had gone home, staring at the deed Diego had left with building security. It was real. He really owned this building, really owned her building's landlord company, really had become the billionaire, while she'd been so busy hating him that she never noticed. I brought coffee. Black, no sugar. You still drink it that way, right? She looked up. Diego stood there, no longer in the janitor uniform, jeans and a simple button-down, looking tired but kind, always kind, even when she tried to have him arrested 6 hours ago. Why? Her voice was hoarse from crying. Why pretend to be a janitor? Why humiliate me in front of everyone? Why? I wasn't trying to humiliate you. I was trying to see you. What? Diego sat down next to her on the marble floor, handed her the coffee. After you refused my calls 2 years ago, I disappeared, built my company, became successful, and I told myself I didn't care about you anymore, that you were just the person who gave up on me when things got hard. Diego, but I did care. I cared so much that it made me angry. So 6 months ago, when I was researching properties to buy in Miami, I saw Sterling Tower was for sale, saw that your company leased space here. And I thought, he stopped, I thought, maybe if I worked here as a janitor, invisible like I was invisible to you, I could see who you'd become, whether you were happy, whether you ever thought about what happened. You bought a building just to spy on me? I bought a building because it was a solid investment. I worked as a janitor because I needed to see you without the armor, without the CEO persona, just Victoria. And what did you see? I saw someone still hurting, still carrying guilt and anger from 2 years ago. I saw you work 16-hour days, micromanage everything because you don't trust anyone anymore. I saw you eat lunch alone at your desk every day. His voice was gentle. I saw someone who let one betrayal turn them into a fortress. Victoria's hands shook around the coffee cup. You don't get to judge me. You don't know what it was like. I was there, Victoria. I lost the same $2 million you did, plus my reputation, my freedom for 6 months while fighting felony charges. My mother almost lost her house. I know exactly what it was like. Then why come back? Why not just stay away? Because I wanted you to see me, really see me, not the bartender you underestimated, not the criminal you assumed I was, just Diego, the guy who believed in your Austin project so much he risked everything. The project that destroyed us both. The project that taught us both what we're made of. He pulled out another document. The Austin property, the one Richard stole the funds for, I bought it, developed it, used my own capital. It's worth $40 million now, and I've been setting aside money in an escrow account. Your original investment, plus the 40% ROI I promised, plus interest. He handed her the paper. Her eyes widened. That's $2.8 million. Your share. What you should have made if Richard hadn't been a thief. Diego, I can't. I called you a criminal. I told everyone you were a fraud. I never apologized. I know, and I forgive you, because I understand why you couldn't trust me. Why it was easier to believe the worst than to fight for the truth. Victoria broke down, actually sobbed. 2 years of guilt and anger and exhaustion pouring out in the empty lobby of a building she didn't know belonged to the man she'd wronged. Diego just sat with her, let her cry, didn't try to fix it or minimize it, just stayed. There's something else you should know, Diego said after Victoria's tears subsided. She wiped her face, embarrassed. What? I didn't just buy Sterling Tower. I bought shares in Chin Enterprises. Her head snapped up. What? How much? 30%. Not enough to control, but enough to have a significant voice in company decisions. When? 6 months ago, through a shell corporation. Been watching your quarterly reports. Victoria, your company is struggling. We're fine. You're barely breaking even. You've been so focused on never being vulnerable again that you've stopped taking any risks. Every project is safe, conservative, minimal return. Chun Enterprises used to be innovative. Now it's just surviving. The truth of his words hit like a slap. What do you want? To take over my company? Destroy me slowly. I want to partner with you. For real this time. Combine your expertise with my capital. Build something actually transformational instead of just safe. Why would you want to partner with someone who accused you of being a criminal? Because you're still brilliant. Still the best commercial real estate mind I've ever met. You just forgot how to trust yourself. He stood, offered his hand. So here's my offer. We merge our companies. Equal partnership. Equal decision-making. We take on the big projects neither of us can do alone. And we build something extraordinary. And if I say no, then I'll still be your landlord. We'll have a professional relationship. And I'll keep hoping that someday you'll see me the way you did 2 years ago. As someone worth believing in. Victoria looked at his extended hand. At this man she'd wronged so completely. Who'd spent 2 years building an empire instead of just plotting revenge. Who was offering her partnership instead of payback. I don't deserve this. Probably not. But I'm offering it anyway. She took his hand, stood, looked him in the eye. I'm sorry for everything. For not believing you. For not fighting for you. For letting fear turn me into someone I don't recognize. Apology accepted. Now let's build something worth believing in. The Whole Foods on Brickell Avenue in Miami. 7 a.m. on a Saturday. Victoria Chin stood in the coffee aisle, debating between brands. When Diego appeared beside her with a cart full of ingredients. Making breakfast? She asked. Making a pitch deck. Stress cooking helps me think. He smiled. The Austin expansion proposal. We're presenting to the board Monday. You know they're going to vote yes. It's a brilliant plan. It's your brilliant plan. I just provided the capital and moral support. They've been partners for 6 months. The merger of Chin Enterprises and Santos Capital Group had created the largest commercial real estate firm in Florida. And really working together as equals, had revealed something neither expected. They were better together than apart, not just in business. Diego, yeah, can I ask you something personal? Always. Why did you really buy Sterling Tower? The truth this time. He was quiet for a long moment, pretending to study coffee beans. Because 2 years ago, before everything went wrong, I was falling in love with you. And when you cut me off, when you believed I was a criminal, without even asking my side, his voice caught. I told myself it was professional, that I just wanted to prove you wrong. But really, I wanted another chance. To show you who I really was. To see if maybe after all the pain and rebuilding, there was still something worth fighting for. Victoria's eyes filled. Diego, you don't have to say anything. I know I hurt you by disappearing, instead of fighting harder to make you listen. I know you were protecting yourself. I just needed you to know. She kissed him, right there in the Whole Foods coffee aisle at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning. When they finally pulled apart, she whispered, I was falling in love with you too. And when everything went wrong, I was so terrified that my judgment was compromised that I'd let emotion blind me to the truth. So I chose the evidence over you. And I've regretted it every day since. Even when you thought I was a criminal, especially then, because I knew in my heart you weren't. I just couldn't let myself believe it. And now I believe in you, in us, in what we're building. She smiled through tears. So, yeah, I'm saying something. I'm saying I love you, and I'm sorry it took me so long to say it. Diego pulled her close, right there in Whole Foods with early morning shoppers pretending not to stare. Worth the wait, he whispered. Sometimes love requires a kind of faith that terrifies us. Sometimes trusting someone means risking the exact pain we've worked so hard to avoid. Maybe that's why real love is so rare. Not because people don't find each other, but because staying vulnerable after you've been burned takes more courage than most of us have. If you ever got a second chance with someone you hurt, if you've ever had to decide whether to trust again after betrayal, then maybe you understand why Victoria and Diego's story matters. Why some risks are worth taking. Why love, real love, is always the bravest choice we make. Monday morning. The combined board of Chin Santos Capital Partners gathered in the conference room of Sterling Tower. 20 board members, billions in assets, and one transformational proposal, a $500 million mixed-use development in Austin that would either establish them as industry leaders or bankrupt them both. Victoria presented. Diego supported. Together, they painted a vision of sustainable urban development that prioritized community needs alongside profit margins. This isn't just about ROI, Victoria concluded. This is about building something that lasts, that improves lives, that proves real estate development can be both profitable and purposeful. The board voted. Unanimous approval. After the meeting, as people filed out celebrating, Diego's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Santos? This is Detective Maria Rodriguez from Miami PD. We've located Richard Castellano. He's been arrested in the Cayman Islands. Extradition hearing is next month. Thought you should know. Diego closed his eyes. Thank you. He found Victoria on the balcony overlooking Biscayne Bay. They caught Richard. She turned, eyes wide, when, this morning, he'll face charges for the embezzlement. Finally, Victoria was quiet for a long moment. Good, he should. But Diego, I don't need him to go to prison to feel justice was served. You rebuilding. Us building something better together. That's the real victory. Still feels good, though. Yeah, it really does. She took his hand. We did it. Actually did it. Built something extraordinary from the ruins of what he tried to destroy. We're not done yet. Austin project is just the beginning. What's next? Miami expansion. Affordable housing integrated with commercial development. Your original vision, remember? The one you told me about in that hotel bar. Victoria smiled. You remember that? I remember everything. Every dream you shared. Every brilliant idea. I've been waiting for the right moment to build them with you. And now we have the capital, the partnership, the trust. Now we build everything. The Vizcaya Museum and Gardens in Miami. Sunset ceremony overlooking Biscayne Bay. Victoria Chun, soon to be Victoria Chun Santos, stood in a simple ivory dress, holding hands with a man who'd gone from bartender to billionaire, from accused criminal to her equal partner in everything. I was so wrong about you, she whispered before they exchanged vows. So completely, terribly wrong. You were scared. I understand that now. I should have fought for you. You're fighting for us now. That's what matters. The ceremony was small. Family, close friends, key employees. Diego's mother cried happy tears. Victoria's father, who doubted Diego from the start, stood to give a speech. I told my daughter Diego was too risky, too unknown, too much of a gamble. He smiled. Turns out he was exactly the risk she needed to take. Because the best things in life, the best partnerships, the best love, they all require betting on people when logic says walk away. Diego, you didn't just prove me wrong. You proved that character matters more than credentials. Thank you for loving my daughter enough to let her find her way back to you. After the ceremony, dancing under string lights, Diego whispered, You know what's funny? What? If Richard hadn't betrayed us, we might never have had this. We might have just been business partners who drifted apart. Sometimes the worst thing that happens becomes a catalyst for the best thing. Don't make me grateful for embezzlement. Not the embezzlement. The journey back to each other. Victoria pulled him closer. I love you, Diego Santos. My partner, my person, my home. I love you, Victoria Chun. My believer, my equal, my everything. The grand opening of Chun Santos Commons in Austin, Texas. A $500 million development that included affordable housing, local business retail space, a community center, and green spaces. Exactly what Victoria had envisioned years ago. Diego stood at the podium, looking out at the crowd. This project almost didn't happen. 3 years ago, someone stole the funds that were supposed to build this. That theft destroyed partnerships, reputations, trust. But it didn't destroy the dream. He gestured to Victoria, standing beside him. My partner in business and life taught me that the best investments aren't in buildings. They're in people, in second chances, in believing someone is more than their worst moment. Victoria took the microphone. I almost lost everything because I stopped trusting. I let one betrayal turn me into someone who saw danger everywhere. Diego reminded me that trust isn't naivety. It's strength. And this development, she gestured to the community gathered. This is what happens when you choose to trust again, when you choose to build instead of just protect. After the ceremony, walking to the community center, they found a plaque on the wall. Chun Santos Commons, built on the foundation of second chances, dedicated to belief that everyone deserves a home and everyone deserves to be believed in. Did you write that? Victoria asked. We both did. Whether we knew it or not, we've been writing this story for years. 5 years after Diego bought Sterling Tower. The H-E-B on South Congress in Austin. Early morning shopping before a business meeting. Diego was in the coffee aisle when he noticed a young man, maybe 25, staring at the prices with the kind of calculation that spoke of tight budgets and big dreams. First time in Austin? Diego asked. The young man startled. Yeah, just moved here. Got accepted to UT's MBA program, but also working 3 jobs to afford it. So I'm learning to shop strategically. He smiled tiredly. Sorry, you don't need my life story. I worked 3 jobs once. Bartender, Uber driver, handyman, lived on ramen and dreams. What changed? Someone believed in me, gave me a shot when I had nothing but ambition. The young man looked at Diego's suit, expensive but understated. You're successful now. I own a real estate company. My wife and I built it together. That's the dream. Someday, maybe. Diego pulled out a business card. Come to our office next week. We have an internship program for MBA students. Pays well. Real experience, not coffee runs. And if you're as hungry as you look, you'll learn everything you need to know to build your own empire someday. Why would you offer that to a stranger in HEB? Because someone once offered me a chance in a hotel bar when I was just a bartender. And that chance changed my life. Now I pay it forward. The young man took the card with shaking hands. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. Don't thank me. Just show up. Work hard. And when you make it, help the next person. Diego finished his shopping, drove to Santos Capital Partners' Austin office, where Victoria was already in a meeting planning their next development. She looked up when he entered, smiled. You're late. I was investing in the future. Another property, another person. She understood immediately. They'd been doing this for years, finding hungry young professionals, giving them opportunities, mentoring the next generation. That's my favorite kind of investment, she said. Mine too. That evening, at home in their Austin house overlooking the city, Victoria asked, Do you ever think about where we'd be if Richard hadn't stolen that money? If everything had gone according to plan? Sometimes. But then I realized, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't become who I needed to be. You wouldn't have either. We needed to break completely to rebuild stronger. No regrets. Only that I didn't buy Sterling Tower 6 months earlier. Could have spent more time mopping floors and watching you pretend not to notice me. She laughed, kissed him. I noticed. I just didn't want to admit it. And now I admit everything. I love you. I trust you. I'm grateful every day that you came back. I never really left. Just took the scenic route home. Sometimes the longest journeys are the ones back to people we should never have doubted in the first place. Sometimes building an empire isn't about accumulating wealth. It's about accumulating the wisdom to know what really matters. Maybe that's what makes stories like this resonate. Not because they're about billionaires or business deals, but because they're about being human, about making mistakes and finding redemption, about being given a second chance and choosing to use it wisely. If this story reminded you that success without someone to share it with is just an expensive kind of loneliness, that trust is harder than love, but just as essential, that the best revenge is building something beautiful with the person who doubted you, then maybe you understand why Diego became a janitor to win back Victoria's heart. Why some victories take years, but are worth every moment. 10 years after Diego bought Sterling Tower, a billboard appeared on I-95 in Miami. A photograph. Diego in his janitor uniform, mop in hand, standing beside Victoria in her CEO suit. The caption, they thought he was nobody. She thought she'd lost everything. Together they built an empire. Santos Capital Partners, we believe in second chances. Below it, smaller text, now hiring. All backgrounds welcome. Character matters more than credentials. Applications flooded in. Hundreds of people who'd been dismissed, overlooked, underestimated, all wanting a chance with the company that believed janitors could become billionaires. And every single one of them got a fair shot, because Diego Santos and Victoria Chun had learned the most important lesson of all. Everyone deserves to be believed in. Everyone deserves a second chance. And sometimes the person mopping your floors today is the partner who will help you build your empire tomorrow. You just have to be willing to see them. If this story touched you in any way, if it made you feel something, pause for a moment, or see life a little differently, please don't let it end here. These stories take heart, time, and care to create, and your support is what keeps them alive. Subscribing, liking, or sharing isn't just a click. It's a quiet way of saying this mattered. If you believe stories like this deserve to be told, please stay with us.